ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaskar my dear friends. This is video number 35 on Maharshi Ramana's talks or talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. This video number 35 will start with talk number 470. As a European countess was leaving for Europe tonight, she requested him to bless her and her family. Maharshi, you do not go anywhere away from the presence as you imagine. The presence is everywhere. The body moves from place to place, yet it does not leave the one presence. So no one can be out of sight of the Supreme Presence. Since you identify one body with Sri Bhagwan and another body with yourself, you find two separate entities and speak of going away from here. Wherever you may be, you cannot leave me. To illustrate it, the pictures move on the screen in a cinema show, but does the screen itself move? No. The presence is the screen. You, I, and others are the pictures. The individuals may move, but not the self. Talk number 471. Devotee. The avatars are said to be more glorious than the self-realized jnanis. Maya does not affect them from birth. Divine powers are manifest, new religions are started, and so on. Maharshi, number 1. Jnani Tavmeva me matam. Number 2. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. How is an avatar different from a jnani, or how can there be an avatar as distinct from the universe? Devotee. The eye, Chaksu, is said to be the repository, ayatana of all forms. So the ear, Srotra is of all sounds, etc. The one, Chaitanya, operates as all. No miracles are possible without the aid of senses, Indriyas. How can there be miracles at all if they are said to surpass human understanding? So are the creations in dreams. Where then is the miracle? The distinction between avatars and jnanis is absurd. Knower of Brahma becomes Brahma only, is otherwise contradicted. Maharshi, quite so. 15th March 1938, talk number 472. A large group of Punjabis arrived here in a pilgrim special. They came to the Ramana at about 8:45 am and sat quiet for a long time. At about 9:20, one of them said, "Your reputation has spread in the Punjab. We have travelled a long distance to have your darshan. Kindly tell us something by way of instruction." There was no oral reply. Sri Bhagwan smiled and gazed on. After some time, the visitor asked, "Which is the best, the yoga, the bhakti, or the jnana path?" Still, Sri Bhagwan smiled and gazed as before. Sri Bhagwan left the hall for a few minutes. The visitors began to disperse. Still, a sprinkling of them continued to sit in the hall. A long-standing disciple told the visitor then Sri Bhagwan had replied to his questions by his silence. which was even more eloquent than words. After Sri Bhagwan returned, the visitor began to speak a little. In the course of his speech, he asked devotee, "It is all right for those who believe in God." Others ask, "Is there a God?" Mercy, are you there? Devotee, quite so. That is the question. I see before my eyes a battalion of spoils passing, therefore I am. The world must have been created by God. How shall I see the Creator? Maharshi, see yourself. Who sees these and the problem is solved? Devotee, is it to sit silent or to read sacred books or to concentrate the mind? Bhakti helps concentration. People fall at the feet of the Bhakta. If it does not happen, he feels disappointed and his bhakti fades. Maharshi, the longing for happiness never fades. That is bhakti. Devotee, how shall I get it quicker? Suppose I concentrate 2 hours today. If I try to lengthen the period the next day, I fall asleep because I get tired of the job. Mercy, you do not get tired in sleep. The same person is now present here. Why should you be tired now? Because your mind is restless and wanders. It gets tired and not you. Devotee, I am a businessman. How shall I get on with business and get peace of mind also? Mercy, this is also a thought. Give up this thought also and remain as your true self. Duty. It is said, do your duty without any expectation of result. How shall I get that frame of mind? Mercy, you need not aspire for or get any new state. Get rid of your present thoughts. That's all. Devotee, how shall I get the bhakti necessary for it? Maharshi, it is bhakti to get rid of thoughts which are only alien to you, that is the self. Devotee, what is thought force, mesmerism, etc.? There was a doctor in Paris called Dr. Ku. He was illiterate but yet was able to cure many incurable diseases by will force. He used to say, generate power to cure yourself. The power is within you. Mercy. It is through the same willpower that the seat of all diseases, the body, has risen. Devotee. So it is said, thoughts manifest as objects. Mercy. This thought must be for mukti, liberation. Devotee. God must enable us to get rid of the other thoughts. Mercy. This is again a thought. Let that which has incarnated raise the question. You are not that because you are free from thoughts. Another visitor from Rawalpindi asked, the Atma is formless. How shall I concentrate on it? Maharshi, leave alone the Atma which you say is formless or intangible. Mind is tangible to you. Hold the mind and it will do. Devotee, mind itself is very subtle and is also the same as the Atman. How shall I we know the nature of the mind? You have said that all sports are useless. What should be our stand then? Mercy, where does your mind stand? Devotee, where does it stand? Maharshi, ask the mind itself. Devotee, I ask you now, should we concentrate on mind then? Maharshi, Devotee, but what is the nature of the mind? It is formless. The problem is perplexing. Maharshi, why are you perplexed? Devotee, the Shastras want us to concentrate and I cannot do so. Maharshi, through what shastras have we known our existence? Devotee, it is a matter of experience, but I want to concentrate. Maharshi, be free from thoughts. Do not hold on to anything. They do not hold you. Be yourself. Devotee, I do not yet understand as to where I take my stand and concentrate. Can I meditate on my mind? Mercy, whose mind? Devotee, my own mind. Mercy, who are you? The question now resolves itself at right. All right. All retired for lunch. The visitor returned at 2:30 p.m. and pursued the same question. He said, Maharshi advises the seeker to get rid of thoughts. On what should I concentrate the mind after all? The thoughts are expelled. I do not see where I stand then and on what I should concentrate. Mercy, for whom is the concentration? Devotee, for the mind. Mercy, then concentrate the mind. Devotee, on what? Mercy, answer the question yourself. What is the mind? Why should you concentrate? Devotee, I do not know what the mind is. I ask Maharshi. Maharshi replies, Maharshi does not seek to know the mind. The questioner must question the mind itself as to what it is. Devotee, Maharshi advises that the mind should be divested of thoughts. Maharshi, this is itself a thought. Devotee, when all thoughts disappear, what remains over? Mercy, is the mind different from thoughts? Devotee, no, the mind is made up of thoughts. My point is this. When all thoughts are got rid of, how shall I concentrate the mind? Mercy, is not this also a thought? Devotee, yes, but I am advised to concentrate. Mercy, why should you concentrate? Why should you not allow your thoughts free play? Devotee, the Shastras say that the thoughts, thus playing free, lead us astray, that is, to unreal and changeful things. Mercy. So then, you want not to be led to unreal and changeful things. Your thoughts are unreal and changeful. You want to hold the reality. That is exactly what I say. The thoughts are unreal. Get rid of them. Devotee, I understand now, yet there is a doubt. Not a trace can you remain inactive. How shall I be able to rid myself of thoughts? Maharshi, the same Gita says, although all actions take place, I am not the doer. It is like the sun toward the world activities. The self always remains actionless, whereas thoughts arise and subside. The self is perfection, it is immutable. The mind is limited and changeful. You need only to cast off your limitations. Your perfection thus stands revealed. Devotee, grace is necessary for it. Mercy, grace is ever present. All that is necessary is that you surrender to it. Devotee, I surrender and pray that even if I go wrong, I may be forcibly drawn to it. Maharshi, is this surrender? Surrender to be complete must be unquestioning. Devotee, yes, I surrender. You say I must dive into the ocean of the self like a pearl diver into the sea. Maharshi, because you are now thinking that you are out of the ocean of consciousness. Devotee, I practice pranayama. It generates heat in the body. What should I do? Maharshi, the heat will pass away when the mind gains calm. Devotee, that is true but most difficult. Maharshi, this is again a thought which is an obstacle. Talk number 473. Someone remarked, it is said that they get mukti unmasked who live or die within a radius of 30 miles around Arunachala. It is also admitted that only by jnana is liberation obtained. The Purana also remarks that Vedanta Vijnana is difficult to get. So mukti is difficult, but life or death round about the hill bestows mukti so easily. How can it be? Maharshi Shiva says, by my command, those who live here need no initiation, diksha, etc., but get mukti. Such is the command of Shiva. Devotee. The Purana also says that those who are born here are Shiva's group of followers, such as ghosts, spirits, disembodied beings, etc. Mercy. So it is said of other Akshetras as well. For example, Tiruvallur Chidambaram. Devotee, how does mere life or death here confer mukti? It is difficult to understand. Maharshi. दर्शनाद अबरादासी जनानत कमलये कस्यांतु मारानम मुक्ति समरानंद अरुणाचले to see Chidambaram, to be born in Trivurur, to die in Banaras, or merely to think of Arunachala is to be assured of liberation. Jananat Kamalaya means by being born in Kamalaya. What is it? It is the heart. Similarly, Abrasadasi, seat of consciousness. Again, Kasi is the light of realization. Remembering Arunachala completes the verse. It must also be understood in the same sense. Devotee. So bhakti is necessary. Maharshi. Everything depends on the outlook. One sees that all born in Trivurur or visiting Chidambaram or dying in Banaras or contemplating Arunachala are muktas. Devotee, I think of Arunachala, but still I am not a mukta. Maharshi, change of outlook is all that is necessary. See what such a change did for Arjuna. He had the vision of the cosmic self. Sri Krishna says, gods and saints are eager to see my cosmic form. I have not fulfilled their desire, yet I endow divine sight by which you can see that form. Well, having said so, does he show what he is? No, he asks Arjuna to see in him all that he desires to see. If that were his real form, it must be changeless and known for what it is worth. Instead, Arjuna is commanded to see whatever he desires. So, where is the cosmic form? It must be in Arjuna. Furthermore, Arjuna finds gods and saints in that form and they are praising the Lord. If the form be withheld from the gods and saints as said by Krishna, who are they of Arjuna's vision? Devotee, they must be in his imagination. Mercy, they are there because of Arjuna's outlook. Devotee, then the outlook must be changed by God's grace. Maharshi, yes, that happens to bhaktas. Devotee, a man dreams of a tiger, takes fright and wakes up. The dream tiger appears to the dream ego who is also frightened. When he wakes up, how is it that that ego disappears and the man wakes up as the waking ego? Maharshi. That establishes that the ego is the same. Dream, wakefulness, and sleep are passing phases for the same ego. Devotee, it is difficult to spot the mind. The same difficulty is shared by all. Mercy, you can never find the mind through mind. pass beyond it in order to find it non-existent. Devotee, then one must directly go to seek the ego. Is it so? Mercy, that's it. Mind, ego, intellect are all different names for one single inner organ, antahakarna. The mind is only the aggregate of thoughts. Thoughts cannot exist but for the ego. So all thoughts are pervaded by ego, ahem. Seek where from the I rises and the other thoughts will disappear. Devotee, what remains over cannot be I, but pure consciousness. Maharshi, quite so. You start seeking happiness. On analysis, you find that misery is caused by thoughts. They are called the mind. While trying to control the mind, you seek the I and get fixed in being knowledge bliss. Another devotee, what then is the mind? Mercy, mind is consciousness which has put on limitations. You are originally unlimited and perfect. Later you take on limitations and become the mind. Devotee, it is avarna, veiling then. How does this happen? Mercy, to whom is the avarna? It is the same as avidya, ignorance, ego, or the mind. Devotee, avarna means obscuration. Who is obscured? How does it arise? Mercy. The limitation is itself obscuration. No questions will arise if limitations are transcended. 16th March 1938, talk number 474. There was some reference to the heart. Sri Bhagwan said, the Yoga Shastras speak of 72,000 nadis of 101 nadis, etc. A reconciliation is effected by others that 101 are the main nadis, which subdivide into 72,000. These nadis are supposed by some to spread out from the brain, by others from the heart, and by some others from the coccyx. They speak of a paranadi which is said to rise up from the coccyx through the susmana to the brain and sends to the heart. Others say that the susmana ends in para. If you advise seeking a realization in the head, Sahasrara, a few between the eyebrows, a few in the heart, others in the solar plexus. If realization amounts to gaining the paranadi, one might enter it from the heart, but the yogi is engaged in cleansing the nadis. Then Kundalini is awakened, which is said to rise up from the coccyx to the head. The yogi is later advised to come down to the heart as the final step. The Vedas say the heart is like a lotus turned down or a plantain bud. There is a bright spot atom like the end of a grain of paddy. That spot is like a flame, and in its center, transcendental Brahma is seated, which is that heart. Is it the heart of the physiologists? If so, the physiologists know best. The heart of the Upanishads is construed as Hridayam, meaning this is the center. That is, it is where the mind rises and subsides. That is the seat of realization. When I say that it is the self, the people imagine that it is within the body. When I ask where the self remains in one's sleep, they seem to think that it is within the body. But unaware of the body and its surroundings like a man confined in a dark room. To such people, it is necessary to say that the seat of realization is somewhere within the body. The name of the center is the heart, but it is confounded with the heart again. When a man dreams, he creates himself, that is the ahamkar, the seer, and the surroundings. All of them are later withdrawn into himself. The one became many, along with the seer. Similarly, also, the one becomes many in the waking state. The objective world is really subjective. An astronomer discovers a new star at immeasurable distance and announces that it is light, that its light takes thousands of light years to reach the earth. Well, where is the star in fact? It is not in the observer. But people wonder how a huge globe larger than the sun at such a distance can be contained in the brain cells of a man. The space, the magnitudes, and the paradox are all in the mind only. How do they exist there? Inasmuch as you become aware of them, you must admit a light which illumines them. These thoughts are absent in sleep, but rise up on waking. So this light is transient, having an origin and an end. The consciousness of I is permanent and continuous. So this cannot be the aforesaid light. It is different but has no independent existence. Therefore, it must be abhasa, reflected light. The light in the brain is thus reflected knowledge, abhasa samvit, or reflected being, abhasa sat. The true knowledge, samvit, or being sat, is in the center called heart, hridaya. When one wakes up from the sleep, it is reflected in the head, and so the head is no longer lying prone but rises up. From there, the consciousness spreads all over the body, and so the superimposed I functions as the wakeful entity. The pure light in the brain is Shuddha Manas, the pure mind, which later becomes contaminated and is Malina Manas, the one ordinarily found. All these are, however, contained in the self. The body and its counterparts are in the self. The self is not confined in the body as is commonly supposed. 16th March 1938. Talk number 475. Sri Maharshi read out a news item from a paper to the following effect. A forest guard armed with a rifle was going in the jungle and noticed two bright spots in a thicket. On closer approach to find out what they were, he was face to face with a huge tiger within a few yards of him. He threw down his gun and assumed a prayerful attitude towards the jungle king. The tiger stood up and slowly moved away without injuring him. 21st March 1938. Talk number 476. Dr. Stanley Jones, a Christian missionary, visited Maharshi. He writes books and delivers lectures. He has two ashramas under his control in North India. He was accompanied by another gentleman and two ladies. He is at present writing a book on the Indian road and wants to meet the spiritually great man in India so that he may collect material for the book. He desired to know how the Indian sages have proceeded and what they have found as their experience in divinity. So he asked questions. This is only a short sketch of his interview. Devotee, what is your quest? What is the goal? How far have you progressed? Maharshi, the goal is the same for all. But tell me why you should be in search of a goal. Why are you not content with the present condition? Devotee, is there Then no goal? Maharshi, not so. What makes you seek a goal? It is a counter question to be answered by you. Devotee, I have my own ideas of these subjects. I want to know what Maharshi has to say. Maharshi has no doubts to be cleared. Devotee, well, I consider the goal to be the realization by the lower mind of the higher mind so that the kingdom of heaven might endure here on earth. The lower mind is incomplete and it must be made perfect by realization of the higher mind. Maharshi. So then you admit a lower mind which is incomplete and which seeks realization of the higher so that it may become perfect. Is that lower mind apart from the higher mind? Is it independent of the other? Devotee, the kingdom of heaven was brought down on earth by Jesus Christ. I consider him to be the kingdom personified. I want everyone to realize the same. He said, I am hungry with other men's hunger, and so on. Mutual partnership in pleasure and pain is the kingdom of heaven. If that kingdom is universalized, everyone will feel at one with the rest. Maharshi, you speak of the differences between the lower and the higher minds, pleasures and pains. What becomes of these differences in your sleep? Devotee, but I want to be wide awake. Maharshi, is this your wide awakened state? It is not. It is only a dream in your long sleep. All are in sleep, dreaming of the world and things and actions. Devotee, this is all Vedantic. I have no use for it. The existing differences are not imaginary, they are positive. However, what is that real waking? Can Maharshi tell us what he has found it to be? Maharshi, real waking lies beyond the three states of waking, dream, and sleep. Devotee, I am really awake and know that I am not in sleep. Maharshi, real waking lies beyond the plane of differences. Devotee, what is the state of the world then? Maharshi, does the world come and tell you I exist? Devotee, no. But the people in the world tell me that the world needs spiritual, social, and moral regeneration. Maharshi, you see the world and the people in it. They are your thoughts. Can the world be apart from you? Devotee, I enter into it with love. Maharshi, before entering, thus do you stand aloof? Devotee, I am identified with it and yet remaining apart. Now I came here to ask Maharshi and hear him. Why does he ask me questions? Maharshi has replied. His reply amounts to this. Real waking does not involve differences. Maharshi, can such realization be universalized? Maharshi, where are differences there? There are no individuals in it. Devotee, have you reached the goal? Maharshi, the goal cannot be anything apart from the self, nor can it be something to be gained afresh. If that were so, such goal cannot be abiding and permanent. What appears anew will also disappear. The goal must be eternal and within. Find it within yourself. Devotee, I want to know your experience. Maharshi, Maharshi does not seek enlightenment. The question is of no use to the questioner. Whether I have realized or not, how does it affect the questioner? Devotee, not so. Each one's experience has a human value in it and can be shared by others. Maharshi, the problem must be solved by the questioner himself. The question is best directed to oneself. Devotee, I know the answer to the question. Maharshi, let us have it. Devotee, I was shown the kingdom of heaven 20 years ago. It was by God's grace only. I made no effort for it. I was happy. I want to universalize, moralize, and socialize it. At the same time, I want to know Maharshi's experience of the divine. Mrs. Jinarajdasa intervened and spoke softly. We all agree that Maharshi has brought the kingdom of heaven on earth. Why do you press him to answer your questions relating to his realization? It is for you to seek and gain it. The questioner listened to her, argued slightly, and resumed his questions to Maharshi. After one or two light questions, Major Chadwick spoke sternly. The kingdom of heaven is within you, says the Bible. Devotee, how shall I realize it? Major Chadwick, why do you ask Maharshi to realize it for you? Devotee, I do not know. Major Chadwick, the kingdom is within you. You should realize it. Devotee, it is within only for those who hear it. Major Chadwick, the Bible says within you and adds no qualifications. The questioner felt his conversation was already too long and so retired after thanking Maharshi and others. Talk number 477. So I end this video here. Next video number 36 we'll start with talk number 477. Thanks a lot. Namaskar my dear friend. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel.